Ambassador Bora stood in the center of the Galactic Council chamber for the 47th time. She held a data tablet in her hands and her fingers were shaking, not from fear, from anger that she had to keep buried deep inside. The council chamber was huge. It was shaped like a half-sphere, with seats rising up on all sides. Hundreds of alien species sat in those seats. They represented thousands of worlds across the galaxy. Some looked like birds. Some looked like insects. Others were just strange shapes that Bora could not describe. They all watched her with their different kinds of eyes. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council," Bora said. Her voice was calm and professional. She had practiced this tone for years. "I present evidence of another attack on human territory. 3 days ago, ships from the HFY Supremacy attacked the colony on Horizon 7. They killed 40,000 civilians, men, women, and children." She pressed a button on her tablet. Holographic images appeared in the air above her head. The images showed burning buildings, dead bodies in the streets, children crying next to their dead parents. The images were horrible. Some council members looked away. Others seemed bored. High Prelate Vorn, the leader of the HFY Supremacy, laughed. It was a harsh, cruel sound that echoed through the chamber. "Ambassador Bora tells another sad story," Vorn said. His voice was deep and rumbling. He was large, almost 3 meters tall, with gray skin like stone. "But these stories are always the same. Humans complain about border incidents. They cry about misunderstandings. They want us to believe they are victims." "These are not stories," Bora said. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands gripped the tablet harder. "These are documented war crimes. We have sent you 47 separate reports over 3 years. Each report has proof of HFY attacks on human worlds. Over 200,000 human civilians have died. We followed every rule. We filed every form. We attended every meeting, and you have done nothing." Council Speaker Thrax leaned forward in his seat. He was old, with wrinkled blue skin and tired eyes. "Ambassador, the Council has reviewed your evidence. We find that these incidents happen in disputed space. The HFY have rights to those areas too." "Those areas are human colonies," Bora said. "We have settlements there. Families live there. Children go to school there. These are not disputed zones. These are our homes," Vorn laughed again. "If humans were strong enough to hold those worlds, they would not need to cry to the Council. Your species is weak. You are soft primates who think talking can solve everything. In the real galaxy, strength matters. You have no strength, so you have no rights." Several other council members nodded. Bora felt something break inside her chest. It was not her heart. It was her faith in this system. She had believed in galactic law. She had believed in justice. She had believed that if humans were kind and patient and followed the rules, the galaxy would protect them. She was wrong. The human species has been part of the galactic community for 50 years. Bora said slowly. "We have followed every law. We have paid every fee. We have never started a war. We have been nothing but peaceful neighbors, and you reward our kindness by allowing murderers to kill our people." "Your kindness shows your weakness," Vorn said. He stood up from his seat. His massive form cast a shadow over Bora. "Real species take what they want. Real species defend what is theirs. If humans cannot protect their own colonies, perhaps humans do not deserve colonies." The council chamber was silent. No one disagreed with Vorn. No one defended humanity. Bora looked around at all those alien faces. Some looked uncomfortable. Most looked indifferent. None looked like they would help. Bora took a deep breath. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small communication device. She pressed several buttons in a specific pattern. It was a code that only a few humans knew. The device blinked twice, then went dark. The message was sent. "Thank you for your time, Honorable Council," Bora said. Her voice was different now, colder, harder. "Humanity will remember this day. We will remember that when we needed justice, you gave us nothing. We will remember that you allowed our people to die because you thought we were weak." She turned and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. "Ambassador," Council Speaker Thrax called out. "What was that message you just sent?" Bora stopped. She turned around and looked directly at Vorn. "I sent a message to my government. I told them that diplomacy has failed. I recommended Protocol 7. "What is Protocol 7? Thrax asked. Bora smiled. It was not a happy smile. "You will find out soon enough." She left the chamber. The doors closed behind her with a final sound. Far away from the council station, Captain Han Sol stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Indomitable. He was young for a ship captain, only 35 years old. But he was very good at his job. His crew respected him. His enemies feared him. Han Sol was tall and thin, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Right now, those eyes were staring at a message on his personal screen. The message was short, just 2 words, Protocol 7. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. Then he stood up from his command chair. "Attention all crew," he said. "We have received new orders from Earth. As of this moment, we are on full combat alert. All weapon systems online. All shields to maximum. Prepare for immediate combat operations." His crew moved quickly to follow his orders. They had trained for this moment, but they never thought it would actually come. Protocol 7 meant something that humanity had avoided for 50 years. It meant war. Han Sol's communication officer looked up from her station. "Captain, we are receiving similar messages from the entire fleet. Every Earth ship in the sector is going to combat status." "Good," Han Sol said. "Open a channel to Earth Command." A moment later, Admiral Daewon's face appeared on the main screen. Daewon was older than Han Sol, almost 60. He had gray hair and a face marked by old battle scars. He was a veteran from the wars that humans fought among themselves before they joined the galaxy. He knew war better than anyone else in the fleet. "Captain Han Sol," Daewon said. His voice was grave. "I assume you received the Protocol 7 authorization." "Yes, sir," Han Sol replied. "What are our orders?" "Humanity tried peace," Daewon said. "For 50 years we were patient. We were kind. We followed their rules. We thought if we showed the galaxy that we were civilized, they would treat us with respect. We were wrong. They saw our kindness as weakness. They saw our patience as fear." Daewon paused. Behind him, Han Sol could see the war room at Earth Command. It was full of officers and screens showing star maps. The maps showed human territory. They also showed Xthari positions. There were a lot of them. The Xthari launched another attack while Ambassador Bora was at the council. Daewon continued. "They hit New Sol. The colony world had 500,000 people. Most of them are dead now. They bombed the cities from orbit. They did not even send soldiers down. They just killed everyone from space." Han Sol felt his jaw tighten. New Sol was a beautiful world. He had visited there once. The people were farmers and artists and teachers. They were not soldiers. They were just trying to live their lives. "The government has made a decision," Daewon said. "No more diplomacy. No more waiting for the council to help us. No more trying to be kind to people who see kindness as weakness. The Xthari wanted to see what happens when humans stop being nice. We are going to show them." "What are our orders, sir?" Han Sol asked again. Daewon smiled. It was a cold, dangerous smile. "Find every Xthari military position in your sector. Then destroy them. No mercy, no hesitation. Show them what humans do when we decide that peace is no longer an option." "Understood, sir," Han Sol said. "What about the council?" "They will protest." "Let them protest," Daewon said. "They had 50 years to help us. They chose to do nothing. Now they will see what happens when they ignore justice. Now they will learn that humans are not as soft as they look." The communication ended. Han Sol stood in the center of his bridge looking at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for his orders. "Navigation," Han Sol said. "Plot a course to Kelvor Station. That is the nearest Xthari military base. Kelvor Station has heavy defenses," his tactical officer said.
"They have 3 times our firepower." "They have 3 times the firepower we have shown them," Han Sol corrected.
"They do not know what human ships can really do. We have been holding back for 50 years, trying not to scare the galaxy. That ends today." He sat down in his command chair and pressed the ship-wide communication button. "This is Captain Han Sol," he announced. "For 50 years, humanity has tried to be peaceful. We followed the rules. We were kind. We were patient. And the galaxy rewarded us by allowing our people to be murdered. Today that ends. Today we show the galaxy what humans really are. We are not soft. We are not weak. We are the children of Earth. We come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. We survived ice ages and plagues and predators and our own weapons. We did not become the dominant species on our planet by being kind. We became dominant by being the best survivors in the history of evolution." He paused, letting his words sink in. "The Xthari think we are weak prey. They are about to learn that they are wrong. We are not prey. We are predators. and we have been hiding our teeth for far too long. War Master Kelth sat in his command center at Kelvor Station and felt bored. He was a senior officer of the Axthari military, which meant he had commanded battles across a dozen worlds. But there had been no real battles lately. Just simple raids on weak human colonies. It was not even interesting anymore. Kelth was large even by Axthari standards, with thick gray skin covered in old scars. Each scar was a story of a real fight. But he had no new scars from fighting humans. Humans did not fight back. They just died and complained to the council. War Master, one of his officers said, "We are detecting ships approaching our position. They are coming from human territory." Kelth barely looked up from his meal. "How many ships?" 15, sir." "All military vessels," Kelth laughed. 15? The humans send 15 ships against our station? We have 50 warships here. We have defense platforms. We have shields strong enough to stop a star from exploding. What do they think they can do with 15 ships? "Should we prepare for combat?" the officer asked. "Prepare if you want," Kelth said with a wave of his hand. "But this will be over quickly. The humans are probably coming to complain about the new Sol attack. They will fly close, send some angry messages, then run away like they always do. Let me know when they leave." He went back to his meal. He did not even look at the tactical screen. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Hansol watched Kelvor Station grow larger on his view screen. The station was huge. It was shaped like a six-pointed star with weapons covering every surface. Around it floated 50 Axthari warships, each one larger than any human vessel. "They are not raising shields," his tactical officer reported. "They are not moving their ships into combat formation. I think they do not see us as a threat." "Good," Hansol said quietly. "Maintain current course. Do not raise shields. Do not charge weapons. I want them to think we are just here to talk." His crew looked nervous. They were flying straight toward an enemy station that could destroy them in seconds, and they were not even raising shields. It seemed like suicide. "Sir," his weapons officer said carefully, "if they fire on us before we raise shields, we will die in the first shot." "They will not fire first," Hansol said with confidence. "They think we are weak. They think we are here to send them an angry message before we run away. That is what humans have always done. They do not know that everything has changed." He pressed a button on his command chair. His face appeared on every screen throughout the ship. "All crew, this is the captain. In 2 minutes, we will show the Axthari what humanity really is. We have been pretending to be peaceful for 50 years. We built our ships to look weak. We designed our tactics to seem defensive. We did all of this so the galaxy would not fear us. But the truth is that human ships are built for war, real war, the kind of war that our ancestors fought on Earth when survival meant being the best killers on the planet." He paused, looking at the faces of his crew on the smaller screens. They were scared, but they were also angry. Every single person on this ship had lost someone to Axthari raids. They all wanted justice. "Our shields are not stronger than Axthari shields," Hansol continued, "but they do not need to be. Because we are not going to sit back and trade shots like other species. We are going to do something that the galaxy has never seen before. We are going to board their ships while they are still fighting. We are going to ram them if we have to. We are going to show them that humans do not need the best technology. We just need to be willing to do things that other species think are crazy." He smiled. "Luckily, humans are very good at crazy. Stand ready. Attack begins in 90 seconds. The Indomitable and its 14 sister ships flew closer to Kelvor Station. They were now in range of the station's weapons. But the weapons did not fire. The Axthari were waiting to see what the humans would do. "All ships, this is Hansol," the captain said into his fleet communication system. "Execute attack pattern Typhoon on my mark. Remember, the Axthari think we are weak. They think we will fly around and shoot at them from a distance like civilized species. Show them that humans are not civilized when someone hurts our families." He counted down from 5. When he reached 0, he shouted, "Mark!" Everything happened at once. The 15 human ships suddenly changed direction. Instead of slowing down, they accelerated. They flew straight at the Axthari warships like missiles. At the same time, they raised their shields and armed all weapons. On Kelvor Station, War Master Kelth dropped his meal. "What are they doing?" he shouted. "Why are they flying directly at us?" "That is suicide. All ships open fire," he ordered. "Destroy them before they reach us." The Axthari warships opened fire. Energy beams and missiles filled space. The human ship's shields glowed bright as they absorbed the hits. One human ship exploded, then another. But the other 13 kept coming. They are not stopping, Kelth's officer yelled. They are going to ram us! At the last second, the human ships did something unexpected. They released thousands of small drones from their cargo bays. The drones spread out like a cloud of angry insects. Each drone was small, just a few meters across, but each one was carrying a powerful bomb. The drones flew into the Xthari formation. Some hit shields and exploded. Others got through and hit the ships directly. Explosions bloomed across the Xthari fleet like deadly flowers. Then the human ships opened fire. But they did not fire from a distance like normal warships. They fired from so close that their weapons went through the Xthari shields before the shields could stop them. It was incredibly dangerous. If a human ship's weapon exploded at that range, it would destroy the human ship too. But the weapons did not explode. They worked perfectly. 3 Xthari warships were destroyed in the first 30 seconds. 4 more were badly damaged. The Xthari fleet tried to back away, but the human ships followed them. They chased the Xthari ships like wolves hunting deer. Boarding teams, launch now, Hansol ordered. Small pods shot out from the human ships. They latched onto the Xthari vessels' hulls and burned through the metal with cutting torches. Xthari crews watched in horror as human soldiers burst through the new holes and started fighting inside their ships. The Xthari had never seen anything like this. Space battles were supposed to be clean. Ships shot at each other from a safe distance. When a ship was damaged, the crew surrendered or evacuated. No one boarded enemy ships during active combat. It was too dangerous. It was insane. But humans did it anyway. Commander Tae-sung led one of the boarding teams. He was a Special Forces soldier who had trained his whole life for combat. He crashed through the hull of an Xthari cruiser with his team of 20 soldiers. The Xthari crew tried to fight back, but they were not ready for close combat. They were ship operators and gunners, not warriors. Tae-sung's team moved through the ship like a storm. They did not kill everyone. They targeted the ship's bridge and engine room. Within 10 minutes, they had control of the vessel. Target secured, Tae-sung reported. Xthari cruiser Thunder's voice is now under human control. Across the battlefield, other human teams did the same thing. They captured 4 Xthari ships. They destroyed 8 more. The rest of the Xthari fleet tried to run away, but the human ships were faster than anyone expected. On Kelvor Station, War Master Kelth could not believe what he was seeing. This is impossible, he whispered. Humans are not warriors. Humans are diplomats. Humans are weak. Sir, we have lost 18 ships, his officer reported. The officer's voice was shaking. The humans are now targeting the station itself. We need to evacuate. Evacuate? Kelth roared. We will not run from these primates. All defense platforms, open fire! Destroy these human ships. The station's massive weapons fired at the human fleet, but the human ships split up and attacked from different angles. They used the captured Xthari ships as shields. They released more suicide drones. They fired missiles that exploded into smaller missiles. Captain Hansol's ship took a direct hit from the station's main cannon. The shield collapsed. The hull cracked open. 30 crew members died when the bridge section lost atmosphere, but Hansol was still alive, protected by his combat suit. And his ship could still fight. All remaining ships focus fire on the station's power core, Hansol ordered through his suit's radio. Coordinates transmitted. Fire on my mark. The human ships fired together. Their weapons combined into one massive beam of energy. The beam hit Kelvor Station's power core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire station exploded in a flash of light that could be seen from 1,000,000 miles away. War Master Kelth died without ever understanding what had happened. He died still believing that humans were weak. 4 hours after the battle started, it was over. Kelvor Station was destroyed. 23 Xthari warships were destroyed. 10 more were captured. The rest had run away. The human fleet had lost 3 ships completely. 5 more were badly damaged, but they had won. Back at Xthari High Command, High Prelate Vorn received the report of the battle. He read it twice. Then he threw the data tablet across the room. This is wrong, he said. The report must be wrong. Humans cannot defeat a full Xthari battle group. They do not have the skill. They do not have the courage. They do not have the will. His military advisor picked up the tablet. The report comes from the ships that escaped, my lord. Dr. Nari stood in her laboratory on Earth. watching the news reports from across the galaxy. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, with gray hair pulled back in a simple style. She looked like someone's grandmother, but she was actually the head of Earth's military weapons development. Some people called her the most dangerous human alive. On her screen, a Galactic News Network reporter was speaking. The reporter was a thin blue alien with 4 eyes. All 4 eyes looked scared. "The mystery of human military effectiveness may finally be explained," the reporter said. "Our research team has discovered something shocking about Earth, the human homeworld. According to Galactic Survey data, Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. For our viewers who may not know, a Class 12 rating means that the planet is extremely hostile to life. Most intelligent species in the galaxy come from Class 1 or Class 2 worlds, which are peaceful garden planets with mild weather and few dangers." The screen changed to show images of Earth. There were videos of hurricanes strong enough to destroy cities, earthquakes that split the ground open, volcanoes erupting with fire and ash, tsunamis taller than buildings, tornadoes that picked up houses and threw them through the air. Earth experiences weather events that would kill most galactic species, the reporter continued. The planet has multiple climate zones, from frozen ice caps to burning deserts. It has predators that hunt in packs. It has diseases that can wipe out millions. It has gone through several mass extinction events. And humans evolved on this world. They survived on this world. They became the dominant species on this world. The images changed again. Now they showed human history. Ancient humans hunting animals 10 times their size. Human cities standing after earthquakes. Human farmers working through droughts and floods. Human soldiers fighting wars across every type of terrain. Experts now believe this explains human combat effectiveness, the reporter said. Humans did not evolve in peace. They evolved in constant struggle. Every day on Earth was a battle for survival. They fought their environment. They fought diseases. They fought predators. They fought each other. For millions of years, being human meant being tough enough to survive in conditions that would kill almost any other species. Dr. Nari smiled. The galaxy was finally understanding. Humans were not supposed to be warriors. They were not supposed to be this dangerous. But survival on Earth had made them into something that the peaceful species of the galaxy could never understand. She turned off the screen and walked to her secure laboratory. Inside were her latest creations. Weapons that she had kept secret for decades. Weapons that she designed but never built because humanity was trying to seem peaceful and friendly. Those days were over. "Begin production of all weapon systems," she said to her assistant. "I want the fleet equipped with everything we have. If the galaxy wants to see what Death World survivors can create, we will show them." On the Xthari world of Vorath Prime, Commander Tai Sung stood on a hilltop and looked down at the city below. Vorath Prime was supposed to be impossible to invade. It was protected by shields, weapons platforms, and a ground army of 100,000 soldiers. The defenses were so strong that even the Xthari thought nothing could break through. But Tai Sung had broken through in 6 hours. He was not a large man. He was average height with a lean build and quick movements. But his eyes were hard and calculating. He had been a soldier for 20 years. He knew how to break things and how to break people. "Status report," he said to his officers. "Sir, we control the northern section of the city," one officer replied. "The Xthari defenders have retreated to the central fortress. They are calling for reinforcements." "How many casualties?" Tai Sung asked. "We lost 200 soldiers in the initial assault. Another 300 wounded." "The Xthari lost 10 times that number." Tai Sung nodded. The numbers were acceptable. Not good, but acceptable. The problem with fighting on a Death World was that Death World natives were very hard to kill. "Set up the psychological warfare equipment," he ordered. "I want every screen in that city showing our victories. I want every radio broadcasting our messages. I want the Xthari defenders to know that their fleet is gone. Their reinforcements are not coming. They are alone." One of his officers looked uncomfortable. "Sir, is that really necessary?" "We already have them surrounded." Tai Sung turned to look at the officer. "You think I am being cruel?" "No, sir. I just think we have already won." "Winning the battle is not enough," Tai Sung said. "We need to win the war. And to win the war, we need the galaxy to understand something important. We need them to understand that humans do not just fight better than other species. We understand war better. We understand that war is not just about killing the enemy. It is about breaking their will to fight. It is about making them so scared that they surrender before we even reach them. He pointed down at the city. Those Akstari soldiers down there are brave. They are well trained. But they have never fought an enemy like humans before. They have never fought an enemy that evolved on a world where every single day was a fight for survival. They think war is about big battles and honor and glory. We know that war is about survival, and we are much, much better at survival than they are. The psychological warfare began. Every screen in the city showed videos of human victories. Akstari ships exploding, Akstari soldiers surrendering, human forces advancing across a dozen worlds. The broadcasts were in Akstari language, cold and professional. Your fleet is destroyed. Your reinforcements are not coming. You are surrounded. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. Continue fighting and you will die for nothing. Inside the fortress, the Akstari commander watched the broadcasts and felt his hope dying. He tried to contact his superiors. The communication systems were being jammed. He tried to contact nearby military bases. They were all under attack too. He was alone. His soldiers were looking at him, waiting for orders. They were scared. They had been trained to fight other civilized species that followed rules, species that fought battles from a distance. They were not trained to fight demons that fell from the sky and fought with a fury that seemed inhuman. We surrender, the Akstari commander said quietly. 2 hours later, Tae-sung stood in the fortress command center. The Akstari soldiers had laid down their weapons. They stood in organized groups watching the human soldiers with fear in their eyes. Tae-sung walked among them. He saw young soldiers, old veterans, officers, and regular troops. They all expected to be killed. That was what the Akstari did to prisoners. That was what most warrior species did. You will not be harmed, Tae-sung announced in Akstari language. You will be held as prisoners until this war ends. You will be fed. You will be given medical care. You will be treated according to the rules of war that humans follow. One Akstari soldier looked confused. Why? He asked. We killed your people. We raided your worlds. Why would you show us mercy? Tae-sung looked at the soldier. Because we are not you, he said simply. We do not kill prisoners. We do not murder civilians. We do not raid peaceful colonies. We fight because we must. But we do not become monsters just because we are fighting monsters. He turned to address all the prisoners. Your leaders started this war. They thought humans were weak. They thought our kindness meant we could not fight. They were wrong. We can fight. We are very, very good at fighting, but we only fight those who deserve it. Your government deserves it. Your military leaders deserve it. You are just soldiers following orders. We understand that. We have soldiers too. The words spread through the prisoner groups. Some of the Akstari soldiers started to cry. They had expected death. Instead, they found mercy. It was more shocking than any weapon. In space above Vorith Prime, Admiral Daewon commanded the human fleet from his flagship Thunderbolt. He was old now, almost 60, but his mind was still sharp. He had been planning this campaign for years, waiting for the day when humanity would finally be allowed to defend itself. Admiral, his communication officer said, we are detecting a large Akstari fleet entering the system. They outnumber us 3-1. Daewon looked at the tactical display. 60 Akstari warships were coming toward his position. He had only 20 ships. By normal military logic, he should retreat. But Daewon was not planning to fight a normal military battle. Captain Hansol, he said into the communication system, are you ready? On the damaged but still functional Indomitable, Captain Hansol smiled. Ready, sir. Let them come. The Akstari fleet arrived with High Prelate Vorn himself leading them. Vorn stood on the bridge of his flagship looking at the human ships on his screen. 20 ships against 60. This would be an easy victory. All ships attack formation, Vorn ordered. We will crush these humans and show the galaxy what happens to species that challenge the Akstari supremacy. The Akstari fleet moved forward in a perfect wall formation. It was an old classic attack strategy. Every ship supported the ships next to it. The wall of ships would advance together, overwhelming the enemy with superior firepower. They are using a wall formation, Daewon's tactical officer observed. That formation is strong against normal tactics. Good thing we do not use normal tactics, Daewon said. Execute plan, Hammer. All ships attack now. High Prelate Vorn sat in his private chamber on the Akstari homeworld and stared at reports that told him his empire was dying. In 3 weeks, Humanity had conquered or destroyed 40% of his military forces. They had occupied 12 Xthari worlds. They had freed 6 species that the Xthari had enslaved, and they showed no signs of stopping. He picked up his communication device with shaking hands. He needed help. For the first time in his long life, Vorn needed to beg someone for assistance. "This is High Prelate Vorn of the Xthari Supremacy," he said into the device. "I am sending this message to the Galactic Council. I request immediate intervention in the conflict with humanity. The humans are conducting a campaign of extermination against my people. They must be stopped before they destroy everything." He sent the message and waited. 2 hours later, Council Speaker Thrax responded. His blue face looked old and tired on the screen. "High Prelate Vorn," Thrax said slowly, "the Council has discussed your request. We are sympathetic to your situation. However, we must ask, where was your concern for galactic law when you were raiding human colonies? Where was your respect for innocent lives when you killed 200,000 human civilians?" Vorn felt anger rising in his chest. That was different. Those were just border incidents. The humans are destroying entire fleets. They are occupying our worlds. "They are doing exactly what you did to them," Thrax said quietly. "The only difference is that they are better at it than you were. You called them weak. You laughed at their diplomatic protests. You told them that in the galaxy, strength determines rights. They have shown you their strength. Now you want us to save you from the consequences of your own actions? You must help me," Vorn shouted. "If you do not stop the humans, they will become too powerful. They will threaten the entire galaxy." Thrax was quiet for a long moment. "The Council will send a diplomatic mission to attempt negotiation. But Vorn, I must be honest with you. After what your people did, after all the innocent humans you killed, I do not think the Council can force humanity to stop, and I am not sure we should even try." The communication ended. Vorn sat alone in the dark, understanding for the first time what it felt like to be helpless, to be weak, to beg for protection that would not come. He finally understood what the humans had felt for 3 years, but this understanding came too late. On the human-occupied world of Vorath Prime, Commander Tae-sung was learning something interesting about governing conquered territory. The Xthari civilians did not hate the human occupiers. In fact, many of them seemed grateful. Tae-sung met with a group of local Xthari civilians in the city's central square. They were merchants, teachers, workers, normal people who just wanted to live their lives. An elderly Xthari woman stepped forward. She was small for her species, with gray skin wrinkled by age. "Commander Tae-sung," she said in careful Standard Galactic, "I want to thank you." Tae-sung was surprised. "Thank me? My soldiers conquered your world." "You conquered our government," the woman corrected. "That is different. The Xthari supremacy was not kind to us. High Prelate Vorn and his warriors took everything for themselves. They forced our children to join the military. They took our food to feed their fleets. They told us we were superior to all other species, but they treated us like slaves. When your soldiers came, we expected worse. But you did not hurt us. You protected us. Your soldiers share their food with our children. You are rebuilding our city. You are treating us better than our own government did." Other civilians nodded in agreement. Tae-sung realized something important. The Xthari people were not the enemy. The Xthari government was the enemy. The people were just victims of their own leaders. "We will continue to treat you fairly," Tae-sung promised. "Humanity does not make war on innocent civilians. We fight those who hurt our people. Your leaders did that. You did not." He established a new system on every world that humans occupied. Xthari who had participated in raids on human colonies were arrested and held for trial. Xthari who had protected humans or refused to join the raids were given positions in the new government. It was justice, not revenge. The galaxy watched this with confusion. Conquering species were supposed to be cruel. They were supposed to enslave the populations they defeated. But humans were different. They were surgical in their violence. They hurt only those who deserved to be hurt. This made them even more frightening. At Earth Command, Admiral Daewon was planning the final phase of the war. The Axthari military was broken, but not destroyed. High Prelate Vorn still controlled the homeworld and its defenses. To end the war completely, those defenses needed to fall. The Axthari homeworld is the most defended planet in their empire, his tactical officer explained. They have orbital defense platforms. They have a fleet of 200 ships protecting it. They have ground armies of 5 million soldiers. Even with our advantages, assaulting that world will cost us thousands of lives. Daewon studied the maps and data. He was old, he was tired, but he was also very, very good at war. We will not assault it directly, he said. We will make them come to us. He turned to his communication officer. Send a message to every Axthari military position in the galaxy. Tell them this. Surrender now and be treated fairly. Continue fighting and share High Prelate Vorn's fate. We are coming for him. Nothing will stop us. The message spread across Axthari space. Suddenly, Axthari military units started surrendering, not because they were cowards, but because they understood that Vorn had led them into a war they could not win. Why die for a leader who had been wrong about everything? Within 1 week, half of the remaining Axthari military had surrendered. The other half retreated to the homeworld to make a final stand. High Prelate Vorn stood on the command platform of his defense station above the Axthari homeworld. He had 200 warships. He had thousands of defense platforms. He had the strongest shields in the galaxy. He would show the humans that the Axthari supremacy could not be defeated. Then he saw the human fleet arrive. It was the largest human fleet anyone had ever seen, over 300 ships. They came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. At their head was Admiral Daewon's flagship Thunderbolt. This is Admiral Daewon of the Earth Defense Fleet, a message broadcasted across all frequencies. High Prelate Vorn, we are here for you. Your military is defeated. Your empire is broken. Your people are turning against you. Surrender now and face trial for your crimes. Continue fighting and die with your ambitions. Vorn laughed. It was a bitter, desperate sound. You think you can threaten me? I have 200 ships. I have defenses that cannot be broken. Come and die, humans. Come and learn what real power looks like. Very well, Daewon said calmly. War Master Kelth, this is your moment. A second voice came over the communication channel. It was Axthari. It was War Master Kelth, the officer who had commanded Kelvor Station before humans destroyed it. All Axthari ships. This is War Master Kelth. I was captured at Kelvor Station. The humans have treated me honorably. They have shown me evidence of High Prelate Vorn's crimes. They have shown me the truth about our raids on innocent civilians. I was wrong. We were all wrong. Vorn is not a leader worth dying for. I ask you to stand down. Do not throw away your lives for a criminal. There was silence on the Axthari command channel. Then, one by one, Axthari ships started powering down their weapons. Captains refused to fire on the humans. Crews mutinied against officers who wanted to fight. The Axthari fleet fell apart without firing a single shot. Vorn watched in horror as his own fleet betrayed him. No! This is treachery! You will all be executed for this! But his threats meant nothing. The ships were no longer listening to him. Captain Hansol commanded the assault on Vorn's defense station. His ship, the Indomitable, had been repaired and upgraded with new weapons from Dr. Nari. He led a strike force of 20 ships directly at the station. The station's automated defenses opened fire. Energy beams and missiles filled space. But the human ships had new shields designed specifically to counter Axthari weapons. They pushed through the defensive fire and reached the station. Boarding teams launch, Hansol ordered. Commander Tae-sung led the boarding operation personally. He wanted to be the one to arrest Vorn. He wanted to look the war criminal in the eyes and tell him that justice had arrived. Tae-sung and his Special Forces team cut through the station's hull and fought their way to the command platform. They moved through corridors filled with automated defenses and loyal guards. It took 2 hours of hard fighting. Tae-sung lost 12 soldiers, but they reached the command platform. High Prelate Vorn stood there, surrounded by his last loyal guards. He was huge and powerful, with skin like stone and eyes full of hate. He looked at the human soldiers in their combat armor and laughed one final time. "You are nothing," he said. "Just primates playing at being warriors. You think you have won? You have just painted targets on your backs. The galaxy will never accept you. You are too different, too violent, too dangerous. Other species will unite against you. You will end up as dead as me." Tae-sung walked forward. He was so much smaller than Vorn, but he was not afraid. "You are wrong about everything," Tae-sung said quietly. "We are not too violent. We are exactly violent enough to stop people like you. We are not too dangerous." 1 year after the war ended, Ambassador Bo-Ra walked into the Galactic Council chamber. She remembered the first time she had walked through these doors 51 years ago. She had been young then, full of hope and faith in galactic justice. She had believed that if humanity was kind and peaceful, the galaxy would welcome them. She had been naive. Now she walked through the same doors and everyone stood up. Not just the council members. Everyone in the observation galleries. Every species representative. Every diplomatic aide. They all stood when she entered. It was not because they loved humanity. It was because they respected strength. And humanity had shown more strength than anyone expected. Bora took her seat in the chamber. It was not the small seat in the back corner where she used to sit. It was a prominent seat near the center, equal to the most powerful species in the galaxy. The council had offered her this seat 6 months ago. She had accepted it without thanks or celebration. It was what humanity deserved. What humanity had always deserved. Council Speaker Thrax called the meeting to order. He looked older than he had a year ago. The war had aged him. Or maybe it was the realization that his entire life's work had been built on a flawed foundation. "We gather today to review the state of the galaxy 1 year after the HFY War," Thrax announced. "I invite Ambassador Bo-Ra to present her report on behalf of humanity and the Coalition of Free Worlds." Bo-Ra stood up. She held a data tablet, but she did not need to look at it. She had these numbers memorized. 1 year ago, the HFY supremacy fell, she began. Since then, humanity has occupied 18 former HFY worlds. We have disarmed their military. We have tried their war criminals. High Prelate Vorn was convicted of crimes against sapient beings and is currently serving a life sentence in a human prison facility. War Master Kelth, who cooperated with our investigation and showed remorse for his actions, was given a reduced sentence and now works as an advisor to help prevent future conflicts. She paused to let that information settle. Justice and mercy. Violence and kindness. Humanity could be both. The HFY people themselves have formed a new democratic government, Bo-Ra continued. They have denounced the supremacy and its crimes. They have paid reparations to the species they enslaved. They have opened diplomatic relations with their former enemies. The HFY people are not our enemies. They never were. Their government was the enemy. That government is gone now. Some council members nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. They were realizing that humanity had done something they thought was impossible. Humans had defeated an enemy without destroying them. They had transformed an aggressive empire into a peaceful democracy. During the same year, 17 additional species have requested protection from the Coalition of Free Worlds, Bo-Ra said. All 17 requests were investigated. 14 were found to have legitimate concerns about aggressive neighbors. We helped negotiate peaceful solutions in 8 cases. We used military force to stop aggression in 6 cases. 3 requests were found to be baseless attempts to manipulate humanity into fighting their enemies. We refused those requests. She looked directly at the council. Humanity does not wage war for fun. We do not seek enemies. We do not want to be the galaxy's police force. But we will not stand by when innocents are being hurt. Not anymore. We tried that for 50 years. It did not work. An alien species representative stood up. It was a tall being with green skin and multiple arms. Ambassador Bo-Ra, some species in this council are concerned about human military expansion. You have built more warships in the past year than some empires build in a century. You have military bases in 40 systems. You have defense pacts with 23 species. Some of us worry about what humans will do with all this power. Bo-Ra did not look angry at the question. She expected it. You are right to worry about power, she said calmly. Power without accountability is dangerous. That is why the Coalition of Free Worlds operates under strict rules. Every military action must be approved by a vote. Every species in the coalition has equal voting rights, including species with small populations. Humanity has one vote, the same as everyone else. But humanity provides most of the military force, the alien pointed out. You could ignore the vote and do whatever you want. We could, Bora admitted. But we will not. Because unlike some species, we understand that real strength comes from trust. If we break our word, if we abuse our power, then the coalition will fall apart. And we will be alone again. We do not want to be alone. We want to be part of a galaxy where justice matters more than strength. But we have learned that justice requires strength to enforce it. So we provide the strength. Others provide the wisdom. Together we create something better than what the council offered. She sat down. The chamber was quiet. No one had a good argument against her words because her words were true. Admiral Day-Wan had retired 6 months ago. He was old and tired and had seen enough war for one lifetime. Now he lived in a small house by the ocean on Earth, where he could watch the waves and remember the people who had died under his command. But retirement did not mean he was forgotten. Today a shuttle landed on his property. Out stepped a group of young Xthari civilians. They were students from the new Xthari democracy. They had asked to meet him. Day-Wan invited them into his house. They sat around his table, looking nervous and curious. One of them, a young male with smooth gray skin, spoke first. Admiral Day-Wan, we came to thank you, he said carefully. You defeated our military. You ended our supremacy. You gave us freedom. Day-Wan shook his head. I gave you nothing. Your own people chose freedom. I just removed the government that was stopping you from choosing. You could have destroyed us, a young female student said. Many species would have. You defeated us completely. You could have enslaved us or killed us all. But you did not. Why? Day-Wan thought about that question. He had been asked it many times in the past year. Because destroying you would have made us no better than High Prelate Vorn, he said finally. Humanity fights to protect innocence. You were innocent. You did not choose to have a cruel government. You were victims of that government just like the species they raided. But we benefited from their crimes, another student argued. Our economy was built on stolen resources. Our lives were comfortable because other species suffered. Yes, Day-Wan agreed. And now you are paying reparations. Your economy is struggling. Your lives are less comfortable. You are facing the consequences of your government's actions. That is fair. But consequences are not the same as punishment. You are rebuilding into something better. We want to help you do that. Because a galaxy full of peaceful democracies is safer for everyone, including humans. The students stayed for hours, asking questions about the war, about human philosophy, about justice and mercy. When they finally left, Day-Wan felt something he had not felt in a long time. He felt hope. The galaxy was changing slowly. But changing, Captain Han Sol no longer commanded a warship. He had been promoted to diplomatic escort commander. His job now was to protect diplomats from coalition species as they traveled through dangerous areas of the galaxy. It was a strange job for a warrior. But he found he liked it. He liked being a symbol of strength that prevented violence instead of causing it. His ship would arrive in a system and suddenly local pirates would decide not to attack. Aggressive empires would decide not to threaten their neighbors. Just the presence of a human warship was enough to keep the peace. Today he was escorting a delegation from a small species called the Valix. They were mammal-like beings with soft fur and large eyes. They were some of the first species to join the coalition after the war. They were traveling to meet with a neighboring empire that had been threatening them for decades. The Valix ambassador was nervous. Captain Han Sol, what if they attack us? What if they do not take us seriously? Han Sol smiled. It was a gentle smile, not the cold smile he wore during the war. They will take you seriously. Because I am here, and they know what humanity does to species that hurt our allies. The meeting went well. The neighboring empire agreed to a peace treaty. They agreed to respect Valix borders. They agreed to trade negotiations instead of military threats. And through the entire meeting, they kept glancing nervously at Han Sol's ship visible through the windows. After the meeting, the Valix ambassador was almost crying with relief. We have been trying to negotiate with them for 20 years. They always refused. One human ship and suddenly they want peace. How is that possible? Because they are not stupid, Han Sol explained. They know that if they hurt you, humanity will respond. And they do not want to fight humanity, so they choose peace instead. That is what we wanted all along, not to fight everyone, just to make fighting seem like a bad idea. Commander Taesung had become a governor. He administered 5 formerly Xthari worlds that were transitioning to independence. It was hard work, harder than fighting a war. Wars had clear enemies and simple objectives. Governing required patience, compromise, and endless paperwork. But it was important work. These worlds needed to learn how to govern themselves. They needed to learn that democracy was possible, that justice was possible, that they did not need a strong leader to tell them what to do.